Hello. Thank you for tuning in today and joining us. I'm Monty from Monty's Magic, and this is the first video of what I hope to be many to come about magic on YouTube and primarily exposure of magic on YouTube and how to stop it. This video is intended to help magicians come together as a group, and this whole series of videos is intended to help magicians come together as a group and actually do something about stopping exposure of magic on YouTube instead of simply complaining about it. The worst thing we can do is complain about it. Every time that a magician complains about magic on YouTube, especially in a public venue, or even on magic channels or groups where there's a lot of new magicians, all we're really doing is empowering and drawing more attention to the exposure in a way that will actually help them. And that's the last thing we want to do. We need to understand why exposure channels are so popular. And it's really kind of a simple concept, but will take a large group effort to stop it. Channels that expose magic on YouTube are popular for primarily one reason and one reason alone. They own and have total control of all the keywords that are used to find magic exposure on YouTube. If you run a search for XYZ company that says how to do XYZ magic, all you're going to find is exposure channel. Or if you do a search for XYZ trick tutorial, all you're going to find is exposure channels. That's because we've given them control of all those keywords. So what we have to do is just simply take control of the keywords. If we take control of the keywords, that will move these exposure channels further down on the list so that they are more difficult to find. It will make it less profitable for them because they're not getting the views, and it will get rid of the small people that the novice or the people who just learned the trick and want to expose it, because they're not getting any gain out of exposing it all except to tell their few friends how it's done, because nobody else is going to watch it. So it's really, again, as simple and as difficult as that. We have to do it as a group, and we have to be dedicated to producing performance-only videos or videos that utilize those keywords heavily, and that will draw the search engines. We'll start splitting more of the searches towards us and less towards them. And if they don't have 100% of the searches, that's good for us, bad for them. So how do we do that? Well, what we have to do is make performance-only videos that are very, very rich in the keywords, in the title, and in the description. And I know many magicians say, I don't want to use the name of a trick, because then people can search it and find how the trick is done. And yes, right now that is so true. But what we want to do is, if they search for the name of the trick, they find us, not the exposure channel. So that's great. If they search and find for XYZ trick and all they find is a good performance of XYZ trick, that's actually a good thing. We need to take so much control of those keywords that eventually they move pages down in the search engine, and it's no longer profitable or advantageous for them to do it, and almost impossible to find. And we can do that as a group. I know we can. I've done a lot of research and a lot of testing on this, and I know we can do it. Let me give you an example. I'll use the Elmsley Count. That's something I think just about every magician knows how to do it, whether they do it or not. I think just about every magician knows how to do it. We'll use the Elmsley Count. If you did a search right now on YouTube, and all you did is just type in Elmsley Count in the search, you would find tons of videos on how to do the Elmsley Count, and that's all you would find. You would not find a single performance video, or very unlikely you would find a performance video unless you scroll way down the list. What we need to do, and I'd like to create a challenge here. I'd like everybody that watches this video to try and produce a performance-only video using the Elmsley Count. Try and make it a quality video because we want people to like it and share it with their friends and things like that. But before you do that, I want you to search Elmsley Count and notice how many exposure videos. You don't need an exact number, but look how dominant they are on there. And in 1 month, if we can get a bunch of magicians to do this, in 1 month, you'll see magic exposure channels start to drop way down in the search engine. And the further they drop, the harder they're going to be to find. Think of an average search. If you're searching for how to put on a Band-Aid, if you don't find it in the first 5 or 10 pages, you give up and try a different search term. That's what we want them to do. More important, we want them to find something with that search term that takes them completely away from it. And I challenge every magician that sees this video to do it, to share it with another magician, and encourage them to do the same thing. 1, produce a quality video using the Elmsley Count. The best you can do. I mean, we all have different quality levels, but any quality level is fine as long as it's a performance-only video. Then in the title, I want you to use keywords that the exposure channels use. Say the word Elmsley Count in the title. I know many magicians say, no, you don't say the name of the trick because then they can go find it. Well, that's the problem. That's why they own the keywords. It's because we're scared to use them. We don't care if somebody looks at it and looks at our video and sees the word Elmsley Count, if it doesn't lead them to somebody that tells them how to do it. We call tricks things all the time. We use terms that mislead them. But what we want to do is take control of those terms so they can't find it. So in the title, put in the keyword, make sure the keyword Elmsley Count's in it. In the description, put in the keyword several times if you can, but don't just line keywords because Google and YouTube will kick you out for that. But don't overpad it, put it in sentences and things like this. But make your title and your document heavily rich with the keywords that the Magic Channel use. So in the title when you can, in the description when you can, I want you to use the word Elmsley Count and use the phrase how to do an Elmsley Count and Elmsley Count tutorial. I mean, these are the ones that are the exposure channels are dominating. So we need to take control of those keywords. And the only way we can take control is we've got to use them. So do that. Now, we do not want to deceive the public. So we have to justify the keyword somehow. Well, we're magicians. You're good at justifying things. Justify it any way you can. Use it in a sentence. Somebody would like to learn how to do this. I don't know. You make up your own sentences. What I would recommend everybody do is let's use this to help the dealers. Our dealers, our brick and mortar stores, our online stores are dying because of this exposure on YouTube. Well, we can help them. What I would really prefer you do is use make your description rich with keywords like how to do an Elmsley Count, Elmsley Count tutorial, and put a link in the description that sends them to a place, sends them to put a link in the description that sends them to a dealer that sells something related to the Elmsley Count. For example, type in, would you like to learn how to do a Elmsley Count? Go to this link and you will find a book that tells you not only this trick, but many, many more. So put a link to a dealer's page where they sell card college, some book like that or something like that. Well, what we're doing then is we're teaching the public the way we really want them to learn magic, not the exposure channels, and we're helping our dealers survive in this current world. That's something I'm a big fan of. I mean, if you go to conventions, you've seen the dealer rooms just slowly declining. Well, we can help them and help us at the same time. So put in, learn how to do the Elmsley Count, and then send a link to your favorite dealer page on how to learn send them, a link to Card College or a link to whatever your favorite book is on card magic, or send them to a trick that uses the Elmsley Count. That's fine if they go buy the trick, because that's what we're trying to achieve anyway. We're trying to stop the free giveaway of the tricks. And if we do that, you'll see them moving down further on the list. I know this is a little scary for some people, but if you try this, I promise you, it will work. You'll see it happen. What I would like to do, if we can get 1,000 magicians to do this, and that's a really easy number, because if you look at our magic groups on Facebook, we have groups in there that are 6,000, 7,000 magicians, things of that nature. If you look at just members of the IBM or SAM club or one of these, something like that, tons of valid members who would like to put in stop to exposure. If we got just 1,000, and better if we can get several thousand, but if we got just 1,000 magicians to start doing this, if I challenge you to do it on the Elmsley Count, and you'll see it happen. If we got 1,000 magicians to do what I just told you, within a month, you would see the exposure channels. You would see them start to drop on YouTube. Probably within, probably would drop several pages with that many quality performance videos out there. And we're not deceiving the public. We're sending them to a dealer and helping our dealer. It's the only way I know to prove to our group out there how this can work. So trust me, try one experiment. Try and get a lot of people to do just this one thing. And I believe that if you search, I know if you search the results, if 1,000 people do it, I know if you search the results a month later, after 1,000 have done it, that it will be almost impossible to find an exposure channel in the first few pages for Elmsley Count. And if we move them enough pages down, it's no longer profitable for them to do that. If you take the time to go look at my website, I have actually been doing for quite some time exactly what I'm describing on this. I'm not just talking out the side of my head. I have been testing this for quite some time with different theories to see which will work, what will draw videos away, audiences away from the exposure channels. And believe me, this works. Give it a try. Again, if you look at my channel, you'll find that it is very, very, very rich with keywords. But I am definitely not an exposure channel. My goal, everything on my YouTube channel is designed to help stop exposure of magic on YouTube. Including, and I'll explain a lot of these in later videos, but including some of the simple tutorials that I do on there. This is a little more complicated, but it's also part of the process. It is designed to stop the exposure. It's unfortunate because a lot of magicians that don't know me and don't know my goals, they take a quick look at my channel and they see a couple of the keyword exposure terms. And unless we work as a group, this might happen to some of you too, and they immediately jump to the conclusion that you're an exposure channel. Unfortunately, putting those keywords in there is necessary for us to take control of it. Otherwise, we're just helping the exposure channels. So give it a try. I would love to, see you join me and work with me on this project. The more magicians, the better. Do me a favor, leave a comment. I would appreciate any comments on methods to actually stop anything we can do with this type of project to help stop exposure. I will tell you right now, if you leave a comment on my YouTube channel that is just complaining about exposure, I will delete it immediately because that hurts us. I believe, I really believe that hurts us more than it helps us, because every time somebody sees an exposure on, everybody sees you say, I hate the exposure of magic on YouTube or something like that, then that immediately triggers in subconsciously in the back of somebody's head, oh, I can find out how to do magic on YouTube, and they go start looking for it. Don't do that, please. Just keep one thing in mind, and I think this is the most important thing. Magicians are masters of misdirection. And that is really all we're trying to do, is misdirect the audience away from the exposure channels towards what we want them to see. You do that in every trick you perform. Why can't we do it on YouTube? Let's misdirect the audience to performance-only videos that are rich with exposure comments.